Welcome to Pario Magazine, where I chat with individuals who have a desire to create. Today, I am joined by someone who plays a vital role in the Australian wrestling scene as one of the referees in PWA and Newy Pro. Welcome to Pario Magazine, referee Hannah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Not a problem. So, obviously, we're here today to chat about your journey into the world of wrestling refereeing. Because obviously without you guys, a wrestling show would not happen. And this next issue of the magazine is all about the people behind the scenes that make shows happen that aren't wrestling in the ring. So before we dive into your story, are you able to give our audience a quick introduction into who referee Hannah is when she's not trying to control crazy wrestlers?
Yeah, awesome. So basically during the day, I work in IT support at my university. So I do that full time. And then when I'm not in the ring, I help out as much as I can with Newy Pro, doing all the graphics, trons, stuff like that, just to try get everything set and ready so that everything is good for the show, everything runs smoothly, and we're good to go each time.
Okay. And when did you sort of
Yeah.
first discover this passion for wrestling?
So I am a late bloomer. Most people know from another podcast that I did. I got into wrestling when I was about 15. My uncles were really into wrestling when they were younger, so it was easy for me to talk to them about it, and I learned a bit from them. Um, and one of my uncles was the person who actually took me to a Newy Pro show. Since then, I just loved watching it, especially watching it live. It was just a different vibe. It felt so much cooler to see it live. And ever since then, I've just been really passionate about wrestling in general. Like, it's just something different that I always tell people that I am involved in it and that I watch it. And you never know who's going to also be a wrestling fan. So yeah, it was definitely something that I jumped into really quickly as soon as I found it, and I haven't looked back.
From that moment, was sort of your idea to get into wrestling as a referee, or did you have aspirations to be a wrestler as well?
Yeah, so I was planning on wrestling. I did try out to eventually wrestle, but in August of 2021, I think it was, or 2020, yeah, it was 2020. Sorry, I had a injury, so I tore my carotid artery. Just small. It was very small. That it wasn't like surgery wise, but the doctors had said like no more wrestling, which at the time sucked because I had been probably not even a year into my wrestling training and they were already telling me that I couldn't keep going. But the same year in Feb, I had already asked to practice refereeing and I did a few training matches and everyone at the house, like Adam Hoffman, Carter Deems, they all said, if we can get you refereeing like this, we'll put you on the next show. And of course, COVID screwed me over that time because that was the cancelled show. The cancelled show was meant to be my debut in March of 2020. So that was fun. But since the injury, I involved myself a lot more with the refereeing stuff. I did a lot more training matches. And since I debuted, I never would look back. If they had told me that the injury could be fixed and I could wrestle again, I don't think I would, because I'm just way more passionate in the refereeing role, and it's a family thing. My pop was a soccer referee for God knows how many years. My mum and my auntie both referee. Like my mum does netball, my auntie did touch football, and then I umpired netball for so many years, and it just feels like it's that role of being a referee or an umpire that we're meant to be doing. And it I just connected way too much with it. So yeah, it wasn't what I started off with, but I would not regret the decision of refereeing at all.
Yep. I guess it's
Yeah.
got a bit of a longer career trajectory as well and not quite as taxing on the body.
Yeah, definitely. I think I am very thankful for this role because as a wrestler, it'd be very hard to get bookings. But as a referee, I have done so many shows over the last year and a half that I can't imagine I would be doing as a wrestler. Last Friday, I refereed a cage match against Matt Diamond and Dazza at City Hall. Never would have imagined as a wrestler being involved in a cage match in any way. But being able to referee that is just a highlight of my refereeing career so far. And I'm just like really thankful for those types of things because it's just something that I get to be involved in that I never would have imagined as a wrestler.
Yep. Yeah, like we said at the start,
Yeah.
like shows always need a good referee or two to make the show even happen. So without you guys, there wouldn't be shows really.
Yeah.
As a woman, was there any concern sort of pursuing this dream to become a referee because like female referees are sort of a fairly new thing in wrestling?
I was a little worried at first, but I found it better for me because it makes me more unique, I guess. Like, we don't really have a lot of female referees in Australia. I only know of Jess. There may be a few more that I am not aware of, but it makes me feel a lot more unique and a lot more special in a way because I do get to be like a female referee. But I always like to think about how Charlie Evans always says a wrestler is not defined on their gender. Like, you don't call male wrestlers, you just call them wrestlers. So why would we say female wrestlers?
Yep.
We should just call them wrestlers. I think it's the same as a ref. I don't like to say on my socials that I'm a female referee. I'm just saying that I'm a professional referee, and I like to keep it like that, I guess. I as I said, I don't want to base it on genders or anything. It's just referee, and like to keep it that way, but it does come with its perks sometimes being a female.
In that sense, do you sort of have to approach the way you referee a match differently to some of the male referees at all?
I don't think so. I like to yell as much as Nick and Ando do. I love yelling at them. Like, I do look smaller compared to a lot of people, especially like people who are as tall as Matt Rogers or Carter Deeves. If I have to get in their face, it's like I'm looking up to get in their face. But I try to be as stern as possible and just referee as much as I can with as much power as I can, because at the end of the day, I have to look like I'm in control.
Yep.
And that's just how I have to play it.
I guess that adds a different dynamic to the match when sort of compared to, say, if Nick's yelling at someone versus you yelling at someone, it feels like it's a little bit more impactful when you're doing it.
I would like to think that. But Nick does get very loud. Yeah. He's a very in your face type of yeller. But I would like to think that if I'm yelling at someone, it does look very impactful. Enough to show that while these guys are huge people, as a referee, I'm still in control. And I don't let them get away with much. Yeah.
Is it nice to see people like Aubrey Edwards refereeing on a major platform?
Yes, definitely. Aubrey is definitely someone that I look up to. I've been very fortunate to have a few conversations with her where she's gone through some of my matches and helped me a lot. I'm always thankful for her stuff. And every time I get to see her and see people like Jess in WWE, I just find it really cool because at the end of the day, like, those people are getting appreciated, and they're females, and it's something that I can look at and be like, yeah, that could be an end goal. It's not impossible because we see females as referees in the E and AEW and places like that, and it is really cool to see.
And in your opinion, how important is a good referee in regards to taking a match to the next level?
A good referee is everything. Like it not only is like the rules part of it, but reactions from the referee is also like a huge thing to me, because you could have a referee in the ring stand there like a robot and some huge move has just happened, but they're standing there so it doesn't look as impactful. But if a referee is reacting and they're like hands over their head, like, oh my God, what just happened? It brings a lot more story to it. And obviously the rules are an important thing as well, but at the end of the day, communication as well, communication can really help, especially if something does go wrong. That can help a lot for a match as well. But a good referee, you can tell the difference between a good referee and, I guess, a not so good referee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then sort of as a referee, I guess you guys have a lot of other jobs outside of just purely in-ring refereeing as well. What else do you do behind the scenes, like you mentioned, with the graphics and everything?
Yeah. So I am the IT person at Newy Pro pretty much. I'm always dealing with mainly the trons. So I'm the person who sorts out the trons for the shows, lighting. I have some help with the microphones because I'm terrible at sound production. But I make sure that gets all sorted as well. And I help with some social media stuff. I'm kind of a backup person for the others who can't do it at the time. And stuff like that, just basically IT stuff. I'll have a few people who may need some assistance and I just help them. But especially with City Hall, there was a lot of stuff I needed to do definitely with Trons, because you can't have a show without Trons working. Not working, I should say. It's just, to me, we had a Rumble show where I kind of had a bit of a meltdown because the Trons weren't working, because I couldn't see a show. I couldn't see a Rumble show without Trons, because it didn't make sense to me, especially if we always have new people coming to shows. And if we don't have Trons on, people aren't going to know their name.
Yep.
And luckily we got it fixed. Thank God we got it fixed, because I was not in a good state. And as soon as we had it fixed, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm good now. This is fine. Like, but yeah, and then I do a bit of running around every now and again. But yeah, I try to stay as involved with Newy Pro as I can. I'm still going to training 3 times a week, and I'd be in the gym just working out so that I can stay fit. And that way I still get interactions. I get to go to training and hang out with people. And when I have jobs that I need to do, I can do them. So yeah, I'm as involved as I can be, considering the injury and everything. So yeah.
Yep. Yeah, like I think a Rumble without the entrances sort of, it takes away a lot of the spectacle of that type of match.
Yeah. Especially because we had a promotional video for one of the spots where someone got injured and Daza was replacing him. And if without that video, without anything like that, it just wouldn't have mattered as much. It wouldn't have been as important as it was.
And then do you feel like that idea of sort of helping out behind the scenes is something that a lot of people overlook when they look at referees? They think, oh yeah, they're just in the match on the show for 2 or 3 matches on the card, but really behind the scenes you're running around like a headless chook, fixing things and sorting things before the show.
Yeah, I think some people who are backstage with us know that I run around a lot. I don't know if it's a stigma with referees that we only are there for matches. I hope it's not, but people who know me know that I am running around constantly at Newy. But I do it because I love it. I'm not, what's the word? I'm not doing it because I'm being asked to do it. I'm doing it because they put their trust in me to know that I can do it. And I've worked for the last year trying to get that trust from everyone to know that, so they know that I'm 100% in this and I can do whatever I need to do. And at the end of the day, like, it's going to be done.
Yep.
And I do hope it's not something that people think about as a ref, like, oh, she's just reffing matches, doesn't really do much else. But yeah, I think people who know me know that I'm working quite hard at the moment.
Perfect. And then looking back on your experiences so far, do you have a favorite match that you've been involved in? Would it be that steel cage match?
I think the steel cage match is definitely my favorite at the moment. Just because steel cage match, as I said, it's not something that you see a lot. And the fact that I got to be involved in that was really cool to me. And like, no, I wasn't just having to ref that match. I had to yell at Diamond because he hit Dazza, and I didn't have to screw in the cage, so that was nice. Because usually the ref is the one who puts the corners in, and I didn't have to do that because I was focusing on Diamond, like moving him away from Daz. And it was just, with Daz winning that belt and everything, it was such a different experience. It's my first title match as well, was someone else has won the belt, like changing over champions. So it's definitely a very impactful match for me. It makes me sound a bit of a mark, but it's just really cool to be involved in those sort of matches. And at the end of the day, it's just a cool experience.
Yeah, best seat in the house and get to experience the crowd's energy at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, and they were going off that night. It was such a good show. Like, everything ran so smoothly. And then when I hit the 3, everyone went off. It was so loud. It was the best fan noise that I've heard in a while. We had about 550 people because it was City Hall. And it was just a really cool thing to hear, especially from the ring. But yeah, it was insane.
And now that you have refereed a cage match, are there any other dream matchups or match types that you would like to be a referee for?
I would love to do a death match. It's like stuff down, a death match down under would be really cool to do. Anything that's not just a normal match, I guess, like a TLC match or just a no DQ would be interesting. I don't really have any matchups that I would like to referee, because at the moment, everyone that I'm kind of refereeing, they're just all cool. The fact that I get to referee them is something in itself. So I don't really have any combinations, but yeah, anything that's involving like tables or chairs, something like that, would be really cool to do. I don't know what else exactly though. But yeah.
Is there an ultimate dream accomplishment as a wrestling referee?
At the end of the day, I think I would like to referee somewhere in America. Doesn't have to be one of the big places. Anywhere in America would just be cool. It would just be an achievement. And if I can say that I refereed a show in America, that would just be full stop. Like, yep, I'm done. I can finish this and know that I've been able to do something cool. But yeah, I think that's the main goal. It is hard, I think, for as a ref to get booked in a different country, because we're not a character. We're not someone that's like
You're not chucked on the posters to promote a show.
Yeah. But it would be really cool. I think even if AEW came to Australia and they asked for refs and I was able to jump on and do like a dark match or something like that, that would also be really cool. Just to throw on the stripes with that AEW logo would just be insane.
Yep.
But we need them to come to Australia first. So
yep.
That's the first thing. But yeah, no, definitely something in America or anywhere out of the country would just be really cool to say that I've done that.
Yeah, I saw recently on their most recent dark tapings, like they've been bringing in indie talent, but now they're also bringing in some new referees as well. So that is obviously an option if they do an Australian tour.
Yeah, they brought in Alison, who I have followed for quite a bit. She's really cool. She's also one of Aubrey's, like, Aubrey mentors her. So it was really cool to see that. And that's what kind of gives me a bit of hope if AEW do come to Australia.
All right, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah.
In the slightly shorter term, what else is on the horizon for you in 2022?
Right now, it's sticking with Newy and PWA. I would really like to go to Melbourne, again, as I said, do a deathmatch show. I'm going to Slam next week just to support a few friends, but might see about Slam, but I'm not 100%. It would be cool to do in Canberra, but at the moment, I'm just going down to support my mates who got booked down there. But yeah, any interstate ones would be cool, but right now it's just Newy and PWA that I'm focusing on because PWA was my debut. Bonza put a lot of faith into me when he randomly asked me one day that if I could ref, and I was forever appreciate how he asked me. Just he had trust in me, and Newy, of course, is my home. Like, they've also put so much training into me, and I can never leave them because they're my home. But yeah, any interstate things would be cool, just to say that I did them. Yeah.
And I guess the King of the Metro is sort of the big show coming up most imminently.
Yes, yeah. So that's going to be exciting. I haven't been able to see how big Metro Theatre is, but I've heard big. It is as big as City Hall. Yeah. It's going to be a huge show, especially with a Rumble. Like, I can't imagine how many people there's going to be. And I never got to do Max Watts, so I'm assuming it's going to be as big as Max Watts. But yeah, no, I'm very excited for the Metro show. It's going to be really cool.
Yep. Yeah, from memory, the Metro's bigger than Max Watts.
Yeah.
So that'll be a very fun show.
Definitely.
Finally, where's the best place for people to support you and track your creative journey moving forward?
So Instagram is probably the best. I post way too much on there. It's just Referee Hannah. I also have Twitter, which is also Referee Hannah, and my Facebook page, again, just Referee Hannah. Everything's just nice and simple, easy to find me. But yeah, Instagram's definitely the big one.
Perfect. That's what we want. Nice and simple. Alrighty. Thank you so much for taking the time, and good luck with everything, and we will see you at the Metro.
Thank you for having me.